Hi, my name is Angie, and for my essay, I decided to write about Kamo no Chomei's An Account of My Hut. The book was written in the year 1212 by Kamo no Chomei, who lived from the year 1153 until 1216. And this was, of course, during the late Heian period into the early Kamakura period. And in the book, he just describes all of these horrible things that occurred during his lifetime, and then eventually how he decides to reject society and become a recluse. So the first thing that he describes is this great fire that occurred in the year 1177, and it wiped out about a third of the capital, and several thousand people were killed in this fire. The next thing he describes is a great whirlwind that occurred during the year 1180. And the year 1180 was also when the Great Genpei War occurred between the Taira and the Minamoto clans, which would, of course, end in the year 1185 and begin the Kamakura period. So it was just a really chaotic time with this huge war going on and then all of these natural disasters occurring at the same time. With that being said, among all the chaos, out of nowhere, the emperor decides to move from the capital, Kyoto, which is also known as Heian, to some other location, and then he ends up changing his mind again about 6 months later and moving back to Kyoto. But amongst all of this, people lost their homes and a lot of their possessions, and it was just a really chaotic time for the people of Japan during this era. Okay, the next thing he describes, which I thought was the most interesting, was a great famine that struck the capital, and this lasted for 2 years and was very devastating to the people of Japan during that time. It occurred about a year later in 1181, and about 42,300 corpses were counted by the monks at one time, and that was just during one time. Many more people actually died, but I just thought it was really amazing how many people actually died during that famine. The next thing he describes in 1185 is a great earthquake that, many people died in and destroyed most of the infrastructure in the capital during that time. And then after all of these horrible things happened, he decides to become a recluse and builds a small 10 by 10 little hut at the base of a mountain called Toyama. And he completely rejects society and just becomes kind of a priest and practices Buddhism alone. He puts up a poster or I guess a painting of the Amida Buddha, which is the kind of the Buddha that he paid reverence to in his sect of Buddhism, which was known as Jodo Buddhism. So he just kind of lived at the base of this mountain in this tiny little hut and did his Buddhist thing and just reflected on his life and what it meant to be alive and what all of these horrible things meant. And he finally kind of came to peace with everything, and he enjoyed his little life in the mountains. In his last days, he writes, "Ever since I fled the world and became a priest, I have known neither hatred nor fear. My body is like a drifting cloud. I ask for nothing, I want nothing." He just kind of finds peace with himself and finds himself enjoying the beauty in nature and very simple moments in life. And I thought that this was a nice end to his life. Okay, and that concludes my talk about Kamo no Chomei's An Account of My Hut. Thank you.